Last week, there were multiple reports that came out that Adelaide had secured the rights to the first ever AFL Magic Round in 2023. Now, just in case you're unfamiliar with the concept of a Magic Round, this is derived from the English rugby leagues and the NRL, where a round of footy is played in one state, one city, all over the course of a weekend. Now, this won't inflict in any of the 23 rounds. This will be an add-on to the 2023 season, which will create a round 24 and remove the one preseason game. I personally really like the idea, but I would be really keen to see your guys' opinions about it down in the comments. So let me know by commenting below, what are your thoughts on Magic Round in the AFL? Now, the concept of today's video is that I've tried to schedule a fixture for the Magic Round in 2023 that works out for fans, that works out for broadcasters, that works out for the AFL. Now, not everything can be in a perfect world with what the government wants and what the AFL wants. So I've tried my best to fit in what I think would work really, really well for a Magic Round. I've tried not to schedule like really big Victorian fixtures that would, you know, kind of let Victorian fans miss out on a big rivalry that they usually have. Now, obviously, with fixturing around, you're always going to have some Victorian matches, so I have had to chuck in a couple Vic matches, but that's just what comes with fixturing around. So yeah, there'll be a couple all Vic matches played in Adelaide. So let's start off with a pretty obvious choice for mine. I've seen this rumour floating around that this is going to happen, and for me it makes the most sense by kicking Magic Round off on a Thursday night. It's the Adelaide Crows and Port Adelaide in a showdown at the Adelaide Oval. Now, just a quick reminder, the government and the AFL have said that they're going to play 6 games at the Adelaide Oval, leaving the other 3 games to local grounds. So that will be really interesting, but I mean, obviously this is an Adelaide Oval game. Not only will this boost the engagement, but will boost all the eyes heading on into this Magic Round, get everyone hyped up for a massive round of footy, and a showdown is the perfect way to do it. You'll have about 55,000 people there. It'll be a full sellout. It'll be absolutely madness. I was at the last showdown that happened in round 23, and although it was a dead rubber game for both teams, the atmosphere was absolutely mad. Yeah, personally, I think this is an obvious choice, and broadcasters would love it, the AFL would love it, and yeah, get really high TV ratings all around the country as well. Now, on the Friday night, I've tried to schedule it's a top 4 clash. It's 2 premiership contenders on the Friday night at the Adelaide Oval. Keep the eyes rolling on this round, and this is just what you want. It's the Brisbane Lions and Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval. I'm pretty sure these two actually played at the Adelaide Oval in a final in 2021. But in a regular season game in a Magic Round, I think these two will have a real good contest. Again, it would bring a crowd of about 35 to 40,000. A lot of people would be going to these games, and that's what you want for the state of South Australia and for the game of Australian rules football. Now it gets to Saturday and Sunday, where things start to get interesting. Now, all the times I mention here are all Vic time, because I cannot be asked translating everything to South Australian time. Now, I've gone with the 4 games on Saturday and 3 games on Sunday route, but I've tried to be very specific with where the games are played and the timing of all of them. Yes, just another quick reminder, all of these times in Vic time. So it starts off on Saturday at 1:30 PM, and I feel like you need a big game to kick off the Saturday, to kick off the actual weekend. So I've scheduled another one at the Adelaide Oval, and this is a Victorian clash, and it's a big game to keep the eyes rolling on this round. It's Geelong versus Carlton, a massive contest between the reigning premiers and one of the best up-and-coming sides in the competition, who are who didn't make finals last year. I think this will be a really, really good game. I think it will attract about 45,000 people. Both these teams have massive fan bases all around the country, and I don't see why this wouldn't keep the hype rolling for this huge round. Now, you've got to be a little bit specific here with the timing of everything, because these next 2 games are both in local grounds. Now, you don't want to host 2 games at the same time, where one's a big game at the Adelaide Oval and the other is a smaller game at a small local venue, because everyone would just flock to the game at the Adelaide Oval and there'd be no purpose of having the other game. So I've decided to have the Adelaide Oval game late and have 2 local games on at the same time in the twilight spot, so that if you want to go to to the first game of the day at the Adelaide Oval, make your way down to the local game and get back for the late Adelaide Oval game, you can do that. So I've got it at 4:45 p.m. on the Saturday at Coopers Stadium, the home of the Norwood Football Club. It's got really good AFL-like facilities and grandstands. This game, personally for me, would be between Fremantle and St Kilda. Two teams that are really good and up and coming, but two teams that have, let's face it, smaller fan bases. They're both very loyal fan bases, but both very small fan bases. No doubt this would sell out Cooper Stadium, but I think it would create a great atmosphere in a local footy sort of vibe, and you're just not going to schedule a Geelong Carlton game at Cooper Stadium. It would just be silly. I think this is the perfect game to kick off a spree of local games in South Australia this round. Now, at the same time, as always, you're going to have blunders and dead rubber games that don't really mean anything, and that's just always what you're going to have. So I've scheduled only about half an hour later from this game on at the same time, 5:20 p.m, about an hour out of Adelaide at Elizabeth Oval. This is one of the biggest sample grounds, but it is between Essendon and West Coast. I feel like you've got to have a dead game, and this is one of them. Unless you live in Elizabeth, I'm not sure why you're going to this game. And then for the 8:45 game, this is where you could make your way down. There's a 4-hour gap between Fremantle, St Kilda and Collingwood, Sydney. There's about a 7 hour and 15 minute gap between Geelong, Carlton and Collingwood, Sydney. So you could head to 3 games in a day here if you want to. At the Adelaide Oval on a Saturday late night, it is Collingwood and Sydney for me, in my opinion. I mean, Collingwood, they have a massive fan base, over 100,000 members. Sydney have a really good fan base all over the country, from their South Melbourne roots to Sydney, and then from WA to South Australia. They've got a really, really solid and loyal fan base. It's not taking away a big game from Collingwood that they would miss out with at the MCG, like a Carlton game or a Geelong game. It's bringing them a really good challenge at the Adelaide Oval, where they wouldn't miss out on 100,000 at the G. On the Sunday, I've had to be very, very specific with these times. Now, I feel like, as it was shown, with the dead rubber shit games like Essendon West Coast, and like I've had to schedule another one of those on the Sunday, I feel like you have to have a game, like a game where more people have eyes on, overlapping it. So that's why on Sunday, I kick it off at 1:20 p.m. at the Adelaide Oval between Hawthorn and Richmond. Two teams where there's probably a favourite, yet they're two big fan bases, and it's not a massive traditional rivalry where Hawthorn or Richmond will be devastated to not be playing this at the MCG. This will be overshadowing the game in the Barossa Valley that the SA government and that wants the AFL to schedule. This will be at Sunday 2:40 between Gold Coast and North Melbourne, because really at Centennial Park Oval in the Barossa Valley, where it can host less than 5,000 people, I'm not scheduling Collingwood, Sydney or Geelong, Carlton. Even Essendon West Coast, I think that would be disrespectful to clubs of that stature. So I think Gold Coast North Melbourne gets the spot on the Barossa Valley. So unless you're in the Barossa, you're heading to Hawthorn Richmond. And now this is where it gets very, very smart, you could say. Sunday twilight, 5:20 p.m, Western Bulldogs versus GWS to close out the round at Prospect Oval in North Adelaide. Now, there is a 4-hour gap between Hawthorn Richmond at the Adelaide Oval and Bulldogs Giants at Prospect Oval. Now, Adelaide Oval and Prospect Oval, it's about a 40-minute walk. It's about 10 to 15 minutes in the car, which means you've got more than enough time to make your way down from Hawthorn Richmond to Bulldogs Giants if you want to. And that's why it's so good having a really good ground that close with good facilities to the Adelaide Oval, so you can schedule double headers like this, and it's why Adelaide's such a good fit for Magic Round. So anyway, I've just had a little shot at scheduling my very own Magic Round. As I already said, comment down below. I really want to know your thoughts on what you think about Magic Round in 2023 and beyond. I personally think it's a really good idea, and I've just whipped up a little schedule to see if it would all work out, and how I think it could very well pan out. It would mean the absolute world if you could hit that subscribe button, share the video to your mates, and also hit the like button. Growth means more than ever over the summer, as it is so hard to come by as an Aussie Rules channel. So yeah, it would mean the absolute world if you could hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on any massive content next footy season, and also over this off season. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Cheers.